Hello and welcome to another Looney Tunes commentary. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing as it helps out the channel and it allows you to follow along all the videos I do and give this video a like if you do like it. This is a commentary for Westward Whoa. Whoa, I say. Released in 1936. It's the 127th in the series and it's directed by Jack King. And this cartoon can be found on the wonderful Porky Pig 101 DVD set. Although there's a bit of an asterisk with this one. They made a mistake when they added it to the disc where they, for some reason, used the 1939 Looney Tunes theme instead of the theme that they used around this time. My version actually was me editing the correct music into it. I might even upload it because I think this one's a public domain cartoon, and if it is, then yeah, at least I can share it with you, which would be good. So this one, I do have to provide a word of warning. It does contain negative depictions of Native Americans, so that's why you probably don't see this one around too often. So this one is notable for being the last major Beans and Ham and X short. Porky's in this one. Obviously, he's on the Porky 101 set. He's actually more in this one than Alpine Antics, that's for sure. But this one is actually interesting because it's clear that Jack King took the story of the boy who cried wolf, and of course, yeah, they're going to say, "Oh, Indians," and you know, everyone goes into a frenzy. But then when real Indians come, well, no one believes them, but they actually do attack. And you know, despite the racial depictions, I actually do like a lot of the animation in this one, especially a lot of the energy. And out of the three Ham and X cartoons that Jack King did, this one's probably the best, and you know, most amusing use of the kids. I mean, the other two, they actually did get a little bit annoying, I thought. Oh, there's that dog, by the way, from Alpine Antics in the beginning when he's, I think, trying to fish. Just using the designs. Jack probably just had this like a stock list of all these characters that he could use as background characters, and there's nothing wrong with that. I just thought it would be interesting to see. But yeah, so he sees that it's a turkey, and yeah, we start off with the whole theme of the boy who cried wolf, which is something I'm making sure I teach my kids not to do. You know, don't say something's there, because if something really is there, I may not believe you until it's too late. So it's a very valuable lesson, and I'd probably show this one to my kids if it wasn't for the racial depictions. I do show them a lot of the old cartoons, but if there's cartoons where it's either just full of blackface or just racial depictions, such as what you're going to see very shortly, it's, yeah, I choose not to at this stage. When they're a bit older, I might do it once I can actually sit with them and explain what's going on. But yeah, that's just my preference as a parent. And I did like that gun gag before, where that character went inside those bones, and the gun took a life of its own. So right away you can see that the Indians were depicted as some, you know, savages, and it was around this time, you know, that those seeking the settlements in the West were seen as the heroes, and of course the Native Americans were seen as, you know, the villains, you know, stopping progress. And we all know now that it's not a great depiction. But that gag with them hitting that Indian in the butt, you know, that would actually be funny if it wasn't for that character. But Joe Doherty's back as Porky, but I have noticed of late, even in the few cartoons I've seen so far, they seem to limit his voice a bit, because I have read that, yeah, recording Joe, because of his natural stutter, was just a long process because of it. So yeah, once Mel Blanc took over, I think that's was probably for the best, because you can't keep on just recording over and over again, because, you know, sure, these days you can record stuff digitally and it's relatively inexpensive, but back then it would all have to be, processed, and it's not cheap to do. But when he does talk, actually, I don't mind the voice. The voice is actually okay in my opinion. I mean, of course, I'll prefer Mel Blanc, and just there's a lot of arrow jokes coming your way in this, as you would expect. And that gag when he's just bouncing back in the water, just, I don't know, stuff like that just amuses me. But when we see Porky, we see easily one of the biggest highlights in terms of gags coming up very shortly, where his pants keep falling down. I had to watch that again, actually. I had to rewind it and see it a few times, because I thought it was quite hilarious. But all in all, it's not a bad cartoon if you can just get over the racial depictions. Like the whole thing with obviously scalping. I really need to look into the history of American Indians a bit more, but it's my understanding they didn't really scalp anybody. I don't know, you let me know in the comments, because being in Australia, of course I'm not as familiar with American history, but it would definitely interesting to see. And here's a Three Stooges gag if I ever saw one. Now here it is. This I don't know. It's just the animation of him trying to pull up his pants just got me. I don't know. It just came out of nowhere. Absolutely hilarious. And again, just, I don't know what is it with them hitting this Indian in the butt. I don't know. And that must be a pretty strong axe for him to do that. It's pretty weird. So what do you guys think of this one? Putting aside the flub that happened on the Porky 101 set, I mean, the cartoon's still watchable, and the actual restoration's not too bad, not perfect. They could, obviously, if they had more of a budget, they could have done a bit better, but hey, it's a lot better than those public domain shorts. But yeah, that's all, folks, and until next time.